Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the command deck of Luna Station, watching Earth through the massive viewing window. The blue marble hung peacefully in space, just as it had for millions of years. She sipped her morning coffee and checked the daily reports. Everything seemed normal. That was before the sky tore open. The first sign came from the deep space sensors. Lieutenant Rodriguez at the scanner station suddenly sat up straight, his face pale. "Admiral, we have multiple contacts appearing in Earth's orbit." "How many ships?" Chen asked, setting down her coffee cup. "I'm counting 30, 50. Admiral, there are over 200 massive vessels appearing out of nowhere." Chen walked quickly to the scanner display. The screen showed Earth surrounded by enormous ships, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. They had appeared without warning, without any signals, without any attempt at communication. "Try to contact them," Chen ordered. "All frequencies." The communications officer shook her head. "No response, Admiral. They're not answering any of our signals." Then the first energy beam fired down at Earth. Chen watched in horror as a brilliant light struck New York City. The beam was so bright it hurt to look at, even from the moon. When the light faded, there was nothing left where the city had been, just a glowing crater of melted glass and metal. "Dear God," someone whispered behind her. More beams fired. Tokyo vanished in a flash of light, then London, then Mumbai. The alien ships moved with cold efficiency, targeting every major population center on Earth. Each beam took only seconds to completely destroy cities that had stood for centuries. Chen's hands gripped the railing so hard her knuckles turned white. She watched helplessly as 10 billion human lives ended in less than 6 hours. The planet that had given birth to humanity was being wiped clean like someone erasing a blackboard. The attacks stopped as suddenly as they had begun. Earth's surface glowed with hundreds of burning craters where cities once stood. The oceans boiled. The atmosphere filled with ash and radiation. Then the aliens finally spoke. A cold, emotionless voice filled the communication channels. The translator struggled to convert the alien language into words humans could understand. "Inferior species of the third planet, you have occupied valuable territory that belongs to the Zephyrian Empire. We have removed your excess population as a demonstration of our superiority. You have 48 hours to evacuate all remaining settlements and surrender your world for proper colonization. Resistance will result in complete extinction." The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. Chen stared at the burning planet below. Her home was gone. Her family was gone. 10 billion people had died in a single morning, killed by aliens who spoke about human lives like they were talking about removing weeds from a garden. Around her, the command center buzzed with activity. Officers tried to establish contact with the few surviving human settlements scattered across the solar system. Mars colonies, asteroid mining stations, research outposts, all the places humans had built as they reached for the stars. Less than 2 billion people remained alive. Lieutenant Tanaka approached Chen with a tablet. "Admiral, we're getting reports from all surviving stations. They want to know what our response will be to the surrender demand." Chen looked at the tablet, then at the burning Earth, then back at the alien ships still orbiting like vultures. Something cold and hard formed in her chest. It felt like ice, but it burned like fire. "Open a channel," she said quietly. "All frequencies, maximum power." "Admiral, do it." The communications officer's hands shook as he activated the transmitter. "Channel open, Admiral." Chen walked to the center of the command deck. Every eye in the station was on her. She thought about her daughter in New York, her parents in California, her brother's kids in Texas, all gone. All murdered by creatures who thought humans were nothing more than pests. She activated the microphone and spoke in a voice that carried across the solar system to every human ear still alive. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. I'm sending this message to the Zephyrian Empire and to every human settlement that can hear my voice." She paused, looking once more at the dead planet below. "You came to our home without warning. You murdered 10 billion innocent people without giving them a chance to defend themselves or even understand why they were dying. You think we're just animals to be cleared away so you can move in." The command center was completely silent. "You made one mistake," Chen continued. "You should have killed all of us." She gestured to Lieutenant Rodriguez. "Cut the transmission." The communication officer looked confused. "Admiral, shouldn't we tell them our formal response to their surrender demand?" Chen turned to face the window again. Earth still burned below them, but something had changed in her eyes. The grief was still there, but it was being forged into something harder and sharper. "That was our formal response," she said. Over the next few hours, reports came in from across the solar system. The alien ships had not attacked any of the off-world human settlements. They seemed content to wait for humanity's surrender, confident that the demonstration on Earth had broken any will to resist. They were wrong. Chen called an emergency meeting of all surviving human military commanders. The meeting lasted 18 hours. When it ended, new orders went out to every human outpost, every mining ship, every research station. The orders were simple: prepare for war. Total war. A war that would end only when every single alien who had participated in the murder of Earth was dead. The Zephyrian Empire had destroyed humanity's birth world and killed 10 billion people. They thought this would make humans surrender. Instead, it made humans into something the galaxy had never seen before. Something that would hunt the Zephyrians across the stars until their species was nothing but a memory. The age of human exploration had ended. The age of human vengeance had begun. 3 months after Earth burned, Admiral Chen stood in the main assembly hall of Ceres Station. The asteroid mining facility had been transformed into humanity's new capital. Where once miners had gathered to discuss ore quotas, now military commanders planned the extinction of an alien empire. Chen looked out at the faces before her. These were the survivors. Scientists from destroyed universities, soldiers from obliterated military bases, civilians who had lost everything. All of them carried the same look in their eyes, a cold anger that never went away. "We are no longer the United Nations of Earth," Chen announced to the assembled crowd. "That organization died with our planet. We are now the Terran Retribution Authority. We have one mission: to make sure every alien who participated in the murder of our world pays with their life." Dr. Marcus Webb stepped forward from the crowd. Before the attack, he had been the head scientist at CERN, Earth's most advanced physics laboratory. Now he was something else entirely. "Admiral, I need to show you what we've discovered," Webb said. His voice was different from before the attack, harder. "The aliens made a mistake when they left our research stations intact." Webb led Chen to a secure section of the station, where teams of scientists worked around the clock. The walls were covered with equations and diagrams that would have seemed impossible just months ago. "We've been studying the weapon signatures from the orbital bombardment," Webb explained. "Their energy weapons are powerful, but they're based on principles we can understand. More importantly, we can improve on them." He stopped in front of a massive blueprint. It showed a weapon design that dwarfed anything humans had ever built. "This is what we're calling the Planet Cracker," Webb said. "One of these weapons can split a world in half. We're going to build 100 of them." Chen studied the design. The weapon was enormous, requiring an entire asteroid to house its components. "How long will it take?" 2 years, Webb replied. "Maybe less, if we convert all our mining operations to weapons production." Across the station, other preparations were underway. Captain James Rodriguez worked with his team to convert cargo ships into stealth vessels. The aliens had superior numbers and technology, but they had grown overconfident during their 800 years of easy conquest. They had never fought an enemy that refused to surrender. Rodriguez had lost his wife and 3 children when Sao Paulo was destroyed. Now he spent his days planning how to make alien ships disappear in the darkness of space. His converted mining vessel, the Erebus, was designed for one purpose: to hunt alien ships and leave no survivors. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka had perhaps the most important job of all. She led the intelligence division, trying to learn everything possible about their new enemy. What she discovered in the captured alien communications made everyone realize that Earth's destruction was just the beginning. "Admiral," Tanaka reported during a command meeting, "we've decoded more of their transmissions. The attack on Earth wasn't random. It was a test." Chen looked up from her planning documents. "What kind of test?" "The Zephyrian Empire calls it a pacification protocol. They use it on any species they consider potentially dangerous. Earth was just the first target. They have 12 other worlds marked for the same treatment." The room fell silent. 12 other worlds. 12 other species that would face the same fate as humanity if the Zephyrians weren't stopped. "There's more," Tanaka continued. "The Empire has been expanding for 8 centuries. They've destroyed hundreds of civilizations. They don't just conquer, they completely erase species that resist them." Chen felt the cold anger in her chest burn brighter. "How many?" "Best estimate, they've committed genocide against over 300 different species. Trillions of lives." The weight of that number settled on everyone in the room. Humanity wasn't just fighting for revenge. They were fighting to stop a machine of extinction that had been operating for centuries. Dr. Webb spoke up. "Admiral, this changes everything. We're not just building weapons to destroy one empire. We're building weapons to make sure no empire can ever do this again." Chen nodded slowly. "Then we need to be more than just strong. We need to be terrifying. Every alien civilization in the galaxy needs to understand what happens when you commit genocide." Over the following months, the Terran Retribution Authority implemented what they called the Total Response Doctrine. It was simple. Any species that committed genocide would face complete extinction. Not conquest, not subjugation. Extinction. The human survivors threw themselves into the work with an intensity that worried some observers. Children learned mathematics by calculating missile trajectories. Artists designed new weapons instead of paintings. Musicians composed marching songs about alien destruction. Captain Rodriguez trained his crews in tactics that would have horrified the old Earth governments. They practiced boarding alien ships and killing every living thing aboard. They learned to use captured aliens as living shields. They studied how to make alien deaths as painful as possible to break enemy morale. "We're not soldiers anymore," Rodriguez told his teams. "Soldiers fight for their country. We're something else. We're hunting an entire species, and we won't stop until they're all dead." The psychological transformation was remarkable and terrifying. Humans who had once sent aid to disaster zones now spent their days planning the most efficient ways to destroy alien colonies. Scientists, who had dedicated their lives to preserving life, now worked to perfect weapons of mass extinction. Lieutenant Tanaka intercepted more alien communications as the months passed. The Zephyrian Empire had noticed that their test subjects weren't surrendering as expected. They were beginning to increase military patrols in human space. "They're getting nervous," Tanaka reported to Chen. "They keep sending scouts to check on our settlements, but we're staying hidden. They know something is wrong, but they don't know what." Chen smiled for the first time since Earth's destruction. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "Good. Let them wonder. Let them start to feel afraid. They wanted to teach us about fear. Now we're going to teach them." As the second year of preparation began, the transformation of human civilization was complete. The species that had once reached for the stars with hope and curiosity had become something entirely different. They had become a weapon, pointed at the heart of an empire. The Zephyrians had wanted to remove humanity like unwanted pests. Instead, they had created the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. Soon, the hunting would begin. Captain James Rodriguez stared at the Zephyrian mining colony through the view screen of the Erebus. The alien settlement sat on the surface of a dead moon, its lights twinkling like stars against the dark rock. Massive mining machines moved across the surface, gathering resources for the empire that had murdered his family. 200 aliens down there, reported his weapons officer. No military escort. They think they're safe this far from human space. Rodriguez felt no emotion as he looked at the peaceful scene. 2 years of preparation had burned the sympathy out of him. These aliens belonged to the same species that had turned Earth into ash. That made them targets. "Begin the attack," he ordered. The Erebus had once been a simple asteroid mining ship. Now it was something else entirely. Human engineers had stripped out everything unnecessary and filled it with weapons designed by Dr. Webb's team. Antimatter torpedoes, particle beam cannons, and something new. A weapon the humans called the Screamer. The first antimatter torpedo struck the colony's main power plant. The explosion was visible from orbit as a brilliant flash that turned the mining facility into a crater. The second torpedo hit the communication station, making sure no distress signal could escape. But Rodriguez wasn't finished. He activated the Screamer. The weapon sent out a special radio signal that interfered with Zephyrian brain functions. Any alien who heard it would experience intense pain and confusion. It was designed to make them suffer before they died. "Landing teams, prepare for deployment," Rodriguez announced. His voice was calm and cold. "Remember, no survivors." 12 shuttles launched from the Erebus carrying teams of human soldiers to the colony surface. These weren't ordinary soldiers. They had been trained specifically to kill Zephyrians in close combat. They carried weapons designed to cause maximum pain to alien physiology. The landing was unopposed. The few Zephyrians who had survived the initial bombardment were too confused by the Screamer to organize any defense. The human teams moved through the colony systematically, killing every alien they found. Rodriguez watched from orbit as his teams worked. Each death was reported over the radio in calm, professional tones. "Mining complex clear. 17 targets eliminated. Residential area clear. 43 targets eliminated. Command center clear. 9 targets eliminated." Within 2 hours, the colony was silent. "All teams return to ship," Rodriguez ordered. "Leave no trace we were here." The Erebus departed the dead moon, leaving behind only empty buildings and alien corpses. No evidence that humans had been responsible. No witnesses to tell the Empire what had happened. The colony would simply be another mysterious disappearance in space. This was the pattern across dozens of star systems. Human stealth fleets struck alien outposts with ruthless efficiency. Mining colonies vanished. Research stations went silent. Patrol ships disappeared without sending distress calls. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 8 centuries through fear and overwhelming force. They had never faced an enemy that fought from the shadows, striking without warning and leaving no survivors to report what happened. Admiral Chen coordinated the attacks from Ceres Station. A massive display showed the locations of every known Zephyrian installation. Red markers indicated targets that had been eliminated. The number grew larger every day. "Strike Team 7 reports success at the Kepler Station," Lieutenant Tanaka announced. 150 aliens eliminated. No human casualties." Chen marked another red X on the display. "What about the research facility on Proxima 4? "Captain Williams reports that target will be eliminated within 6 hours," Tanaka replied. "They found something interesting there, Admiral. The aliens were studying human DNA samples." Chen's expression darkened. "What kind of studies?" "Weapons research. They were trying to develop biological weapons specifically designed to kill humans." The cold anger in Chen's chest burned brighter. The Zephyrians weren't content with destroying human cities. They wanted to create weapons that would make human deaths even more horrible. "Send orders to Williams," Chen said. "Make sure their deaths are slow." Dr. Webb approached the command station carrying a data tablet. His latest project was nearly complete. "Admiral, the first planet cracker is ready for testing." Chen followed Webb to the weapons testing facility. Through a massive viewing window, she could see the weapon floating in space. It was built into an asteroid 3 kilometers long, bristling with equipment that would have seemed impossible 2 years ago. "The target is an uninhabited moon in the Wolf system," Webb explained. "It's similar in size and composition to a typical Zephyrian colony world." Chen nodded. "Begin the test." The planet cracker powered up slowly. Energy readings climbed higher and higher as the weapon prepared to fire. Then, with a flash of light brighter than a star, it released its devastating beam. The target moon cracked like an egg. The beam split it completely in half, sending fragments spinning away into space. In less than 30 seconds, an entire world had been destroyed. "Excellent," Chen said, watching the debris field expand. "How many more can we build?" "We have components for 20 more weapons," Webb replied. "But Admiral, there's something else. We've detected Zephyrian fleet movements." Chen turned her attention back to the tactical display. Intelligence reports showed that the Empire was finally beginning to understand they were under attack. Alien fleets were being repositioned to guard important installations. "They're learning," Tanaka observed. "Our attacks are starting to worry them." "Good," Chen replied. "Fear is what we want. Let them start to understand what it feels like to know their species is being hunted." Captain Rodriguez returned to Ceres Station after his latest mission. His team had eliminated 3 more alien outposts without losing a single human life, but he could see the psychological cost of their campaign in the faces of his crew. "Admiral," he reported to Chen, "the crews are asking questions about the endgame. They want to know when the killing will stop." Chen considered the question. Around them, the command center buzzed with activity as more strike teams prepared for deployment. On the display screens, red markers showed the growing number of eliminated alien targets. "The killing stops when their species is extinct," Chen replied. "Every single one of them. We're not fighting a war, Captain. We're conducting an extermination." Rodriguez nodded and returned to his ship. He understood the mission. They all understood. The Zephyrian Empire had shown humanity what genocide looked like. Now humanity would show them what revenge looked like. Across the galaxy, alien colonies continued to disappear. The Empire's leaders began to realize they faced something they had never encountered in 8 centuries of conquest, an enemy that fought with the fury of the damned and the patience of predators. The humans were no longer the frightened survivors of a destroyed world. They had become something new, something that hunted in the darkness between stars and left only silence behind. The real war was about to begin. Emperor Vex Thul of the Zephyrian Empire stood before the massive holographic display in his throne room. The display showed the Empire's territory, but something was wrong. Dozens of red markers indicated colonies that had stopped responding. Hundreds of ships had vanished without explanation. For the first time in 8 centuries of conquest, the Empire was afraid. "How many colonies have we lost?" the Emperor demanded. His military advisor, General Krexhai, consulted his datapad with trembling claws. 112 outposts have gone silent in the past year, my lord. We estimate over 50,000 citizens have been killed." Emperor Vex Thul's rage filled the throne room. 50,000 of our people murdered by inferior humans? This ends now. Assemble the Grand Armada. The Grand Armada was the Empire's ultimate weapon. 3,000 warships representing 8 centuries of military might. It had conquered 47 star systems and destroyed hundreds of rebellious species. No enemy had ever faced the full power of the Zephyrian military and survived. Admiral Chen received the intelligence report on Ceres Station with satisfaction. Lieutenant Tanaka had intercepted alien communications indicating the massive fleet movement toward human space. "They're sending everything they have," Tanaka reported. "Every major warship in their empire is heading toward Earth's solar system." Chen smiled coldly. "Perfect. Dr. Webb, is Operation Alien Extinct ready?" Dr. Webb nodded from his position at the weapons control station. "All planet crackers are in position. The gravity well generators are online. The minefields are armed and ready." Chen had spent 2 years preparing for this moment. The Zephyrians thought they were attacking the helpless remnants of humanity. They had no idea they were flying into the most sophisticated trap in galactic history. "Signal all human fleets," Chen ordered. "Operation Alien Extinct is now active. The Grand Armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 3,000 massive warships arranged in perfect battle formation, ready to finish what they had started 3 years ago. Emperor Vex Thul commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Dominator. Through the viewing screen, he could see the burned husk of Earth in the distance. The planet was still dead, still glowing with radiation from the orbital bombardment. "Scan for human ships," the Emperor ordered. His sensor officer studied the readings with confusion. "My lord, I'm detecting only 200 human vessels. They appear to be hiding behind Earth's moon." Emperor Vex Thul laughed with cruel satisfaction. 200 ships against 3,000. The humans have made this easy for us. But as the Grand Armada moved deeper into the solar system, something strange happened. The ships began to slow down, as if they were flying through thick liquid instead of empty space. "Engineering!" the Emperor shouted. "Why are we losing speed?" "Unknown, my lord," came the reply. "Our engines are operating at full power, but we're being pulled off course by some kind of gravity distortion." Dr. Webb watched from Ceres Station as the alien fleet fell into his trap. Hidden throughout the solar system were gravity well generators, machines that could create artificial gravity fields strong enough to disrupt faster-than-light travel and slow-moving ships. "They're caught in the maze," Webb reported to Admiral Chen. "Estimated time to break free, 6 hours. Chen activated the fleet communication system. All human ships, begin Phase 2. What the Zephyrians thought was the entire human fleet was actually just the bait. The real human armada had been hiding in the asteroid belt, their ships disguised as space debris. Now they activated their engines and moved to attack positions. Captain Rodriguez commanded the attack from the Erebus. His ship had been equipped with the latest human weapons technology, including something the aliens had never seen before, a teleportation system that could instantly move bombs inside enemy ships. "Target the flagship," Rodriguez ordered. "Let's kill their emperor first." The first phase of the battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Human ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking the trapped alien fleet from impossible angles. Teleported bombs exploded inside Zephyrian ships, destroying them from within. But the humans weren't just trying to win, they were trying to send a message. Every alien ship that was disabled had its crew captured and tortured before being executed. The screams were broadcast on all frequencies, so the surviving Zephyrians could hear what was happening to their comrades. Emperor Vex Thul watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by tactics he couldn't understand. Hundreds of ships exploded in the first hour alone. His perfect battle formations collapsed into chaos as captains tried desperately to escape the gravity wells. "My lord," General Krexhai reported with panic in his voice, "we've lost over 800 ships. We need to retreat." "We cannot retreat!" the Emperor roared. "The Empire does not flee from inferior species!" But his ships were trapped. The gravity wells held them in place while human vessels picked them off one by one. The Grand Armada that had conquered nearly 50 worlds was being destroyed by an enemy it had underestimated. Captain Rodriguez led a boarding party onto the Dominator. The Emperor's flagship was heavily defended, but human soldiers had been trained for exactly this kind of assault. They moved through the alien ship like a plague, killing everything in their path. Rodriguez found Emperor Vexthul in his throne room, surrounded by his remaining guards. The alien ruler who had ordered the destruction of Earth cowered behind his soldiers like a frightened child. "Your Imperial Majesty," Rodriguez said mockingly, "my name is Captain Rodriguez. You killed my family 3 years ago." The Emperor tried to maintain his dignity. "Human, you do not understand the power you are challenging. The Empire spans hundreds of worlds. Even if you destroy this fleet, others will come to avenge us." Rodriguez smiled coldly. "No, they won't." He activated a communication device that showed Emperor Vexthul what was happening elsewhere in the galaxy. Dr. Webb's planet crackers had begun their work. Zephyrian colony worlds were being cracked open like eggs. The Empire's home system was under attack by the most powerful weapons ever created. "While you were coming here to finish destroying humanity," Rodriguez explained, "we were destroying everything you ever built. Your colonies are ash, your fleets are scrap metal. Your homeworld will be debris by tomorrow." Emperor Vexthul stared at the images of his burning empire. "This is impossible. You are just one species. We have ruled the galaxy for centuries." "You ruled through fear," Rodriguez replied. "But you made one mistake. You taught us what real fear looks like. Now we're going to teach the entire galaxy that lesson." The Emperor fell to his knees. "Please, mercy. We can negotiate. Reparations. Anything you want." Rodriguez thought of his wife Maria, his daughter Sofia, his son Carlos. All of them turned to ash in a single morning by this creature's orders. "You killed 10 billion of us," Rodriguez said quietly. "We're going to kill all of you." The last transmission from the Grand Armada was Emperor Vexthul's desperate plea for surrender. It was broadcast across the galaxy, showing the mighty Zephyrian ruler begging for mercy from the species he had tried to exterminate. Admiral Chen's response echoed through space. "Surrender denied. Extinction authorized." The Battle of Sol ended with the complete destruction of the Zephyrian Grand Armada. 3,000 ships reduced to floating debris. Not a single alien survivor. But the battle was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, human fleets emerged from hiding to begin the final phase of Operation Alien Extinct. Every Zephyrian world would burn. Every alien who had participated in Earth's destruction would die. The empire that had ruled through fear for 8 centuries was about to learn what terror really meant. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of her flagship as it orbited what had once been the Zephyrian homeworld. The planet was gone. In its place was an expanding cloud of rocks and ice, slowly drifting away into the darkness of space. "Scan complete," reported her science officer. "No life signs detected in the debris field. The planet is completely destroyed." Chen nodded without emotion. It was the same report she had received from dozens of star systems. Every Zephyrian colony world had been cracked open by human weapons. Every alien military base had been reduced to ash. The species that had murdered Earth no longer existed. Lieutenant Tanaka approached with her final intelligence report. "Admiral, we've completed the galaxy-wide sweep. No Zephyrian survivors detected anywhere. Their species has been completely eliminated." "What about their client species?" Chen asked. "The aliens who served them?" "Most have surrendered unconditionally," Tanaka replied. "A few tried to form resistance coalitions, but they were quickly defeated. The galaxy understands that humanity is now the dominant power." Chen walked to the command center where Dr. Webb was analyzing the latest weapon test results. The scientist had become something different over the past 3 years. Where once he had worked to expand human knowledge, Now he designed instruments of mass destruction with clinical efficiency. The new planet crackers are 40% more efficient, Webb reported. We can destroy entire solar systems in hours instead of days. I'm also working on a weapon that can ignite a star. One shot could sterilize dozens of worlds at once. Chen approved the research with a simple nod. The galaxy needed to understand that challenging humanity would result in complete annihilation. Fear was the only language that alien species seemed to understand. Captain Rodriguez entered the command center carrying a data tablet. His ship had just returned from hunting down the last group of Zephyrian refugees who had tried to hide in a distant star system. Final report, Rodriguez announced. Sector 7 is clear. We found the last 12 aliens hiding on a mining asteroid. They've been eliminated. Chen marked the final location on her star map. Every red marker now showed a dead world or a destroyed fleet. The Zephyrian Empire had been completely erased from existence. Excellent work, Captain, Chen said. How did they react when you found them? They begged, Rodriguez replied without emotion. They offered information about other empires. They promised to serve humanity. They said they had families and children. And your response? Rodriguez's expression remained cold. I told them we had families too. Then I killed them all. Chen smiled with approval. The old humanity might have felt sympathy for alien families. The new humanity understood that mercy was a luxury they could no longer afford. A communication alert sounded through the ship. The message came from the Centauri Alliance, a coalition of 6 alien species that had tried to oppose human expansion after the fall of the Zephyrian Empire. Admiral Chen, the alien ambassador began, his translation device converting his words into human language. We wish to discuss terms for ending hostilities between our peoples. Chen accepted the communication. The alien on the screen was trembling with fear, as they all did when speaking to humans now. There are no hostilities, Chen replied calmly. There is only your species' decision to choose extinction instead of submission. Would you like to reconsider? The ambassador's alien features showed obvious terror. We surrender unconditionally. Please don't destroy our worlds. Too late, Chen said. You chose to resist. Dr. Webb, how long until the Centauri system is eliminated? Webb checked his instruments. The planet crackers will reach their target in 18 hours. All 6 worlds will be destroyed by tomorrow. The alien ambassador began to weep. Please, we have billions of civilians, children. They don't deserve to die for our leader's mistakes. Chen felt nothing as she watched the creature beg. After what humanity had experienced, alien suffering meant nothing to her. The children of Earth didn't deserve to die either, she replied. But you didn't care about that when you tried to fight us. Goodbye. She cut the communication and returned to her work. The Centauri Alliance would be extinct within a day. Their 6 worlds would join the growing list of civilizations that had been completely eliminated for opposing humanity. Dr. Webb approached with a new report. Admiral, I've been analyzing the data from our conquered territories. We now control 47 star systems directly, with another 100 systems under human protection. Chen studied the galactic map. Human territory had grown enormously in just 6 months. Every species that had submitted to human authority was allowed to continue existing, but under strict control. Any species that resisted was eliminated completely. What about the remaining independent civilizations? Chen asked. Most are staying neutral, Webb replied. They've seen what happened to the Zephyrians and the Centauri Alliance. No one wants to risk provoking us. Chen nodded with satisfaction. Fear was working. The galaxy was learning the new rules of existence under human dominance. Lieutenant Tanaka brought another report. Admiral, we're receiving messages from civilian populations on Earth's former colonies. They're asking when they can return home to begin rebuilding. Chen considered the question. Earth was still a radioactive wasteland, uninhabitable after the Zephyrian bombardment. But it had symbolic importance as humanity's birth world. "Begin terraforming operations," she ordered. "But Earth will not be rebuilt as it was. The new Earth will be a fortress world, a reminder to the galaxy of what happens when you try to destroy humanity." As the months passed, the transformation of human civilization continued. Children in human schools learned military tactics instead of art. Scientists worked on weapons instead of medicine. Artists created propaganda instead of beauty. The humans had become exactly what the galaxy feared them to be: a species dedicated entirely to war and domination. Every human citizen understood their role in the new order, to ensure that no alien species would ever again threaten human existence. Chen established her capital on the former Zephyrian throne world, now called New Terra. The planet had been completely rebuilt as a monument to human victory. Where alien palaces once stood, now there were human military academies. Where alien gardens had grown, now there were weapons factories. In her final log entry as Admiral, Chen reflected on what humanity had become. "We were explorers once. We reached for the stars with hope and wonder. We wanted to find friends among the cosmos and learn from other civilizations. The Zephyrians taught us that such dreams were childish fantasies. They showed us that the universe is ruled by force, not friendship. So we learned their lesson well. We have become the apex predators of this galaxy. Every alien species knows that challenging humanity means extinction. We rule through fear, because fear is the only thing that works. The 10 billion dead on Earth have been avenged, but the cost was our souls. I no longer call myself Admiral. From this day forward, I am Empress Sarah Chen of the Human Empire. We came to the stars as explorers. We will rule them as conquerors, and any species that forgets the lesson of Earth will learn it again in fire and ash." The galaxy had wanted monsters, and humanity had obliged. The species that once sent messages of peace to the stars now sent messages of war. The humans who had once dreamed of friendship among the cosmos now ruled through terror and absolute power. In the end, everyone had lost. The Zephyrians were extinct. Humanity had won everything and lost themselves. And the galaxy trembled under the rule of the monsters that grief and rage had created. The age of human exploration was over. The age of human empire had begun, and it would last for 1,000 years, enforced by weapons that could crack planets and fleets that showed no mercy. Earth's children had finally grown up, and the galaxy would never recover from what they had become.